Alright, so as you can tell, getting back on the S10, trying to get the engine stuff done now. We got to change out the spark plugs and check the valve adjustment. And I think that's all we need to do. Trying to find my no matter how much you prepare and think you got everything ready, it's always something you forget when you make a video. It's funny how that works. Looking for is an extension, which I got now. So, this plugs on this engine are really hard to do. They're like real hard. Like, oh my Jesus, the hardest thing I've ever worked on. And you didn't hear that sarcasm in that, I'm sorry. Like, there you go. That's 4 spark plugs already broke loose. What did that take me? 4 seconds. Hard to work on. Very hard. It would be easier without the, would be easier without this roll cage tube in my way, because it is kind of hard to reach my arms down in there. But that's what the wheel well's for. I'm just going to glance at these plugs as I pull them. They got a lot of idle time. Definitely aren't going to tell you anything about the tune, but they could possibly tell you is if I had an issue in a cylinder that I don't know about. So that's number 2. She looks good. Slight rich. Cylinder 4 looks good. Cylinder 6, she's got a little bit of water in there, guys. You see that built up? It's just moisture in the air. Definitely got some buildup in that one from being held open. Number 8. And yes, see those lines? I usually try to index my plugs. Old time hot rod stuff. And here's my dilemma. I normally run 20 thousandths gap at any boost level. I don't see any reason that MSD can't jump it with that 2 amp coil. But I want to turn the boost up a little bit. Thinking like just of ways to kind of be safer doing this stuff. Oh, and these are a heat range 8. I normally run a 7, but you know, margin of safety. These are at 30 thousandths, which is definitely too much. Just hitting them on my anvil. Sorry about that, didn't mean to knock you. 8. Trying to get it down in the 20 range. Dead on 20, it's good. Four. Another one at 20. Yeah, this coil's 2 amps. So that's like probably an amp and a half more than an LS coil. And can't see any reason why 2 amps can't jump 20 thousandths. There's 24. Another Amazon package. This one's wanting to be a little finicky, trying to get down to 20. There we go. Now she's there. Another one at 20. There's 20 thousandths gap with this ignition in my eyes. Should be able to get into the 30 PSI range without even worrying about it. Mamacita. One more little whack. That should be it. All right, there's 420. Grab these old ones. I've got 3 sets of plugs. I think I actually already have a set pre-gapped for the race, but I don't usually ever change my plugs at the race. Seldom have I ever seen anything on a spark plug that had any concern about. They simply just, I mean, if you change them before the race on this setup, they're good to go. There's nothing, and I ran plugs that were a year old and raced and didn't slow down any. So that's, see how the camera's looking. I think you guys might be a little bit sideways, but try to straighten you up some. There. All right, so there's 4 ready to go. I need to get me a Sharpie. See where my plug straps end up. That's a dead Sharpie, that's not really no good. And then when I mark them, what I want to know is where the opening is, how it's opening. So that's where I mark all my plugs, right there on the bottom where I can see them easy. And then right here. Yeah, don't screw these right in right away. If you do mark your plugs to index them, because this stuff will smear. You gotta give it a little, just a little time to dry. And if you want to see what 20 thou looks like, I don't know where you are. Can you see that gap? It's not a lot. Okay. These four are ready to go in. And the installation is the same as the removal. I like to put just a little bit of anti-seize on them. There's always a little bit left over in the head, so if you don't have any, it's not the end of the world. But it sure does make them come out nice. I had some copper anti-seize. I just don't know where it's at. And I don't remember when I got my order from Jags if I was smart and ordered any. Don't see any. I did order top lube. I don't think I ordered any. It's alright. You can use this regular anti-seize, makes no difference. This copper's a high heat. This is just standard anti-seize. Wipe off as much as I can. Just work it down in the threads. Okay. All right, that black should be ready to go. Actually, let me just grab all of these and get them in. See where I end up. Usually I can get lucky and just move the cylinder, move the plug. Let's see how that ended up today. Right now, I've got one pointing at an exhaust, one pointing before an exhaust. This one's pointing towards an exhaust. This one is pointing down in the cylinder. So I've got one that will probably end up needing to be pulled and moved to another hole. I know they're not tight. I just know where they end up when they're tight. All the other ones are going to end up pointing down in a hole, which is good. If I get on the threads all the way. Okay. Now they're all tight enough to do from the top. So this one, the index is down away from the intake valve into the cylinder, which I can live with that. I usually just don't want them blowing right at the intake valve so that the boost isn't trying to blow them out. I like the strap to kind of block the flame. This one's pointing sideways towards the valve, kind of like where the other one got better. This one's great. It's kind of pointing over towards the exhaust down in the chamber. I like that. This one's pointing right at the intake valve, so it's definitely going to get switched. This one is 2. So it looks like I've got 2 on this side. Probably going to get relocated. This one. Oh, she's gravy. Pointing right down in the cylinder. 2 of them facing up, definitely going to get switched out. Let's go ahead and do the other side. see where these end up, and then we'll kind of go from there to see where to switch them to. I think the last time I changed the plugs in this was 2021 for that streetcar takeover race. Everyone's like, oh, LS this, LS that. Can't do this in your LS. Another 4 seconds, I got 4 plugs loosened. You dang sure can't reach your whole hand in there. And I say this because I have 2 of them. So I'm allowed. This is a lot faster. Usually on the ground, unless you got to go in through the wheel well, you don't have to stand on your tiptoes to change plugs normally. It does make it easy to get in there. Okay, we got cylinder 7. I don't know how to make this. Okay. Looking good. Cylinder 5. Cylinder 3. Cylinder 1. It's looking pretty good, guys. I mean, she hasn't had a tune-up in quite a while. And like I said, these are 8s, so they're a heat range colder than what I normally run. So I would expect these to be a little bit on the cold side. Not for the boost I'm getting ready to run, they're perfect. So, now for low boost, I could definitely run 7s and never have an issue with 7s. I've ran 7s at 22 pounds and not had a single problem. But 22 pounds ain't gonna get me what I want ET wise. So we gotta run more boost than that. Thinking about if I can get a couple hits in, basically if I can go rounds and I get lucky and don't draw Cletus the very first round where I got to race a 6-second car right away. There are a few 7-second cars and a few 8-second cars. Hopefully they're going to pair the slower cars together. I know they don't have to, but hoping then I might be able to get the run at 22 pounds all the way out the back door and then get to play with the tune and get another run in, hopefully. That's my main plan, but we'll see how the race works. I went to that streetcar takeover untested on a track I've never been on a tune I've never ran, on a place I've never been, and runnered up. So I feel like if I can get a couple runs to turn this thing up slow, I don't want to kill it in the first hit. I got to make sure everything's okay. But I'm going to put some power into it. Otherwise, they're just going to run all over me. I mean, because I don't know who's a 7-second car, who's a 6-second car. I mean, I know a few of the 6-second cars just from watching their videos. But I know Snot Rocket's 6. I know the RX-7 big block car is a 6-second car. Oh man, I marked that on the wrong side. Obviously, Cletus is bringing all his 6-second stuff. I just want to run my first 799. I think that would be amazing. To even get to go to the race is amazing. Like, to get the invite to be in this is pretty awesome for us. We've never been invited to do something like this before, so it's really, really awesome. So those are all ready to go back in. I'm just going to let that Sharpie cure so I can screw them down and not mess it up. Let's see, while it's doing that, how about we pop these off real quick? Get ready to run some valves. I'm really hoping we get in here and there's no bad lash caps. So I've been on a run lately with lash caps that are breaking in half. The original ones lasted me forever. Probably got 10 or 12 years on the first set. And then in a matter of months, I had a couple bust. And from what I'm seeing, so far, there's no lash caps laying in the engine on this side, which is great news. Let's check this side. Sounds like they're making sugar cookies in there. Here, mixer going. Okay, she's off there. Surprisingly little condensate, which is good. I need to wipe that valve cover or it will be leaking. Don't see no loose lash caps, which is a great sign. Smelling good. Got a little bit of oil on the gasket. I run these kind of like the Moroso. Same thing with the valve covers. It's that rubberized gasket, but it's got steel laminate inside it. And I really don't ever have any leaks from the engine. Transmission, that's a different story. We won't get into the transmission. Checkup 400 seems to always leak. Not with the Moroso gaskets, but it leaks out the tail, everywhere else. I don't know if you guys want to see how much lift I run. Get you off this charger. So all those are kind of up. Not really. Maybe that back one's down a little bit, but you can see I run big block Chevy 2200 installed height springs, and I run them at 1,890. And there you can see that one is on open. So she tight. Trying to get you over there. Yeah, see that? She tight down there. I run these guys 80 thousandths coil bind, and I get as much seat pressure as I can, which in turn lets me spin this thing pretty much unlimited. I'm limited by my foot and where I set the box up. I'm not limited any other way. If I want to go to 9,000, this engine can go there. It's got everything to do it. So if I get tempted and want to push that sassy button and just get sassy with the boost, I can. And I can overrun a gear and stretch it out if I need to make a little bit more mile an hour up. So there's that. Then we're going to run the valves right after we do the plugs. So let's get these other plugs in. Get you back on this stand. Hopefully not hit that stupid Bixby button. Yeah, I'm using my phone. I don't have a charged GoPro that works. Alright, that's done. Let's get these plugs in. Then we can go on to adjusting some valves. Always hard on these AFRs to figure out the exact angle of how the plug's supposed to go in without looking at the hole direct. Because they kind of go down a little bit, the angle weird. Sometimes you nail it right on the first try, like that one. Got a little bit of water condensate in the oil. It'll go away when I get the truck hot, but I can see it right here on the tips of the lash caps. You can see that little white fluffiness. Not lash caps, but rocker caps for adjusting the valves. Let me take this plug and this plug and head down south here. In. we end up on these guys. And then I'll see which ones I can switch, or I'll grab a couple different plugs. Try to get my indexing good. So far those two look good. Looks like they're pointing straight down in the cylinder, away from the intake valve. Hey, who switched you? I didn't switch you. That one's pointing up at the intake valve. That one needs to be changed. That one's down in the hole. So I've only got two, one on this side, and just have to go back over these, make sure I like where it's sitting. Yeah, so only got one on this side, cylinder number 7 or 5, and then 2 on that side to switch. I'm not gonna make you watch that, but I'll switch them out and get some in there. And then on the valves, pretty simple. I run 18 and 16, and it's, I just run when the exhaust valve starts to open, my intakes should be good to check. There it goes. 16, intake's good. When the intake just starts to close, check the exhaust. Means you're coming up on a compression stroke. $18,000, exhaust is good. Now just roll through here, check every one of them. And why I do this is because of the heat this motor sees in boost. It hasn't seen any boost since I refreshened it, but because of the amount of boost that I run, Chevy 8mm valves are inherently weak. When you're running this kind of seat pressure, it's already trying to tulip the valve on its own. And then when you factor in the heat, these valves tulip really quick. And the fastest way to catch a problem is either the broken caps, bent valves, or valve lash going away and a valve holding open, or just getting to the point where there's no lash. That little bit of growing is just telling me it's tuliping and I need to hold her off right there and then change the valve out. Consequences of running this much spring pressure. Actually, I would like to have these heads opened up to where I could run 11/32 small block Chevy standard size valves, and then I would have that little bit of extra strength at the stem where it's the bottom of the stem thickness would be bigger, and that kind of slows the tuliping a little bit, but still with this kind of seat pressures and the 300s on the seat, they're still going to do it. There's just no getting away from it. So I'll run through here and check all those valves just like I did those two. You guys don't have to sit here and watch that, but that's all 8 spark plugs and already checking on valve adjustment in that little bit of time. Once that's done, put the engine back together. The carb's got to come off. I go completely through it, clean every port and passage, just because it's been sitting and it's E85. It likes to leave residue behind. And I don't like old fuel being in the carburetor, so I'll blow out the fuel lines to the tank and drain any leftover ignite fuel that's in the tank, and fill her up with straight fresh fuel, and then we'll get ready to go. Other stuff I'm going to end up doing is the wiring on the inside, but that'll be a new video. So thanks for watching. Tell your friends, like, subscribe, really help us out. Let's get some subscribers on this channel so we can get these other hot rods done and get that C10 over here and get started soon. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. If it will turn off.